Welcome to this video on applying Stoic philosophy to deal with social anxiety in everyday situations. If you struggle with nervousness, fear of judgment, or embarrassment in social interactions, this video will provide powerful wisdom and strategies from the ancient Stoic philosophers to help you manage those difficulties. The Stoics were a school of Greek philosophers dating back to around 300 BC who developed a practical system of logic and ethics to achieve tranquility and resilience amidst life's challenges. While their teachings originated centuries ago, the core principles remain relevant and applicable daily. In this video, we'll explore utilizing key Stoic concepts and techniques to reduce social anxiety and increase confidence when navigating everyday social situations like conversations, public speaking, networking events, and more. I'll share insights from great Stoic thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, whose words illustrate a profound understanding of the human condition. The brilliance of Stoic philosophy lies in its simplicity and relatability. Anybody can understand and apply these teachings to their experiences and find solutions. I'll use plenty of examples from our contemporary world to ensure these ancient ideas resonate. Deeply understanding social anxiety is crucial. Social anxiety is something that affects millions of people across the world. The feeling of nervousness and fear of being judged or embarrassing yourself arises in social situations. As the ancient Stoic Seneca said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." For many, social anxiety can manifest as physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweaty palms, a shaky voice, or even nausea when having to interact with others. But it goes beyond just feeling uncomfortable. This condition can cause people to avoid certain social situations out of fear, like public speaking, meeting new people, or attending gatherings. Remember, if you are aiming at something great, you must dedicate yourself to something great as well. Overcoming social anxiety requires commitment, but the benefits of being able to engage fully in life are immense. Think about all the missed opportunities, connections, and constraints when social fears take over. Imagine being able to go after that new job confidently, speak up in meetings without hesitation, attend social events, and be present instead of being consumed by anxious thoughts. The philosophers of Stoicism would remind us that while anxiety itself is a natural response, how we perceive and respond to that feeling determines our suffering. As Epictetus stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." With guidance from Stoic principles, we can reframe our perspective on social anxiety from being a scary obstacle to an opportunity for growth and mastery over our minds. One of the most fundamental concepts in Stoic philosophy is the dichotomy of control, the idea that we only have complete control over our thoughts, judgments, and actions. Everything else, the behavior of others, external events, outcomes, is out of our control. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When it comes to social anxiety, so much of our fear stems from wanting to control the uncontrollable, how we are perceived by others, whether they judge or reject us if something embarrassing happens. But the Stoics would argue this is a recipe for inner turmoil. Imagine you're about to give a presentation at work. You may have some anxiety thinking, "What if I mess up my words?" Or, "What if people think I'm incompetent?" These worries come from wanting to control how the audience perceives and thinks about you, which is ultimately out of your control. However, what is within your control is how prepared you are, how you regulate your emotions and self-talk, and how you respond to whatever happens during the presentation itself. The ancient Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius summed it up nicely. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Rather than agonizing over what you cannot control, you can focus on maintaining your preparation, poise, and rational perspective. This refocusing of energy is incredibly empowering. Let's look at another everyday example. Conversing with someone new. The anxious thoughts may be, "What if they don't like me?" Or, "What if I say something awkward?" Again, their perception of you is out of your control, but you can control your inner calm through techniques like box breathing. You can control making eye contact and listening attentively. You can control what you choose to say or not say. focusing solely on what you can control in social situations. The philosophy of Stoicism provides a robust framework for overcoming social anxiety. At the core of social anxiety are the irrational thoughts and cognitive distortions that fuel fear and nervousness. As Epictetus wisely stated, man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. Our minds can spin anxious stories and worst-case scenarios in social situations that have no basis in reality. The Stoics recognize that while we cannot always control our initial gut reactions, we can exercise control over how we process and respond to those thoughts and feelings. Let's look at an example of putting this into practice. Imagine you're at a party and see a group of people you don't know well. The anxious thoughts might start. They're going to think I'm awkward and weird if I try to talk to them. I'll just embarrass myself. Your mind is already catastrophizing a hypothetical social interaction that hasn't yet occurred. This is the irrational view causing you disturbance and anxiety. A Stoic approach would be to pause, draw in a deep breath, and start questioning those anxious thoughts rationally. Is it true they will definitely think I'm weird just for trying to be friendly? Do I have evidence to say that with certainty? Even if they did judge me negatively, how big of a deal is that really in the grand scheme of things? Have there been times I've thought people judged me harshly, but in reality, they did not? By calmly interrogating the irrational fears with Socratic questioning, you can weaken their power over you. You realize the distressing thoughts are not based on facts, but pessimistic fortune-telling. The Roman statesman Seneca reinforced this by saying, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than reality." With consistent practice regulating your mind this way, you take back control from the irrational and anxious mental loops. You become more grounded in the present reality of social situations rather than getting hijacked by worst-case scenarios. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is that true confidence and self-respect come from living a virtuous life, following reason and wisdom. As Epictetus boldly stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You build an unshakable inner strength when you align your thoughts and actions with virtues like courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. This core self-assuredness becomes your unbendable rock in the ocean of social anxiety. Let's start with the virtue of courage. Social fears often stem from avoiding discomfort. We don't want to feel anxious, judged, or embarrassed, so we dodge certain situations altogether. However, the Stoics would argue that psychological discomfort is inevitable in life. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." By avoiding discomfort, we let our fears control us rather than our higher rational minds. True courage involves leaning into the anxiety and taking wise action for a higher purpose. It's having an honest conversation with a friend about an issue in the relationship despite the nervousness. It's raising your hand to speak up in a meeting when you have something valuable to contribute. It's introducing yourself to someone new at an event, even if your heart is pounding. William Makepeace Thackeray, an English novelist, embodied this spirit when he said, "Bravery never goes out of fashion." Each courageous action builds your confidence further for the next. It reinforces the belief that you have the strength to withstand life's inevitable difficulties. Stoicism also emphasizes the virtue of wisdom and its role in self-governance. Someone operating from wisdom has perspective. They do not make rash judgments or give unbridled power to irrational thoughts and emotions like social anxiety. The wise person can observe their anxious feelings and say, "This is just an instinctive response based on irrational fears about the unknown. It doesn't have to control me." They can regulate their mind and body through negative visualization, self-talk, and conscious breathing. Remember, with sacrifice before, no approach is made, nor can a thing be hunted down that will not run away. This means you must make some effort or give up something before achieving a goal. It also implies that you can only pursue something willing to move or change. If something is fixed or uninterested, it can't be chased or caught. Similarly, social confidence comes from diligently practicing wisdom continually catching and reframing anxious thoughts before they run rampant. Finally, the Stoics revered the virtue of temperance, which is all about exercising restraint, moderation, and self-discipline. This is key for managing social anxiety, as the symptoms often involve a sense of losing control. Someone acting with temperance does not get hijacked by anxious emotions in the heat of social interaction. They can stay grounded and poised. They think before reacting. They have the restraint to pause and recenter themselves when anxiousness arises, rather than letting it spiral. The philosopher Zeno of Citium described the temperate person as being unmoved by pains or pleasures. While feeling some nerves is inevitable, you can develop the mental toughness to keep that state from controlling you. You cultivate an unshakable core of self-confidence by embodying virtues like courage, wisdom, and temperance in your daily life. You stop being at the mercy of social fears and instead operate from a place of inner fortitude. One of the most effective ways to manage social anxiety, and a concept the Stoics deeply understood, is the power of present moment awareness. So often, social anxiety arises when our minds are caught up in worries about the past or future. We're fretting over how we were perceived in a previous interaction, or imagining all the ways things could go wrong in an upcoming one. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, confine yourself to the present. We escape the grip of social anxiety by anchoring ourselves in the here and now. Think about a time you were nervous speaking with someone new. Chances are your anxious mind was bouncing around thoughts like, what if they don't like me? Or, did I just say something stupid? These thoughts are either in the past or future. The Stoics would advise you to gently redirect your attention to the present interaction. Listen attentively to what the other person is saying. Observe their body language. Notice your breath and surroundings. Being present in the current moment leaves little mental room for anxious thoughts to intrude. You shift from ruminating and anticipating to simply being. Let's explore another technique: mindfulness meditation. This ancient practice is about observing your thoughts and sensations without attachment or judgment. You can develop an invaluable skill by spending just a few minutes daily on mindful breathing. You learn to notice anxious feelings arise and let them pass without getting swept away. As Epictetus taught, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you gain mastery over your reactions and cultivate an unshakable presence. Consider incorporating a brief grounding exercise before social interactions that tend to spike your anxiety. For instance, if you feel nervous before giving a presentation or attending an event, take a few moments to close your eyes and take slow, deep breaths. Feel the sensation of your feet touching the ground. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. This anchors you firmly in the present and calms the nervous system, helping you enter the situation with a more centered and focused mind. Remember Marcus Aurelius's advice: the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do. By consciously anchoring your mind in the present moment, you shift away from anxious ruminations and bring a calm, composed energy to your social interactions. This practice of present moment awareness is a cornerstone for managing and ultimately overcoming social anxiety. A vital component of managing social anxiety through Stoic philosophy is cultivating resilience and self-compassion. The Stoics understood that life is inherently unpredictable and filled with challenges. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Social anxiety can make you feel stuck, believing you can't handle social situations, but the Stoics remind us that we have immense inner strength to withstand and grow from these experiences. One powerful practice to cultivate resilience is reframing how you view setbacks and discomforts in social interactions. Instead of seeing them as failures, view them as opportunities for growth. If you stumble over your words or feel awkward in a conversation, don't dwell on it negatively. See it as practice, an essential part of developing your social skills and resilience. Reflect on what you can learn from the experience and how to handle it better next time. This shift in perspective can significantly reduce the fear of social situations. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Another crucial aspect is self-compassion. Often, social anxiety comes with harsh self-criticism and unrealistic expectations of perfection. The Stoics, while advocating for self-improvement, also recognize the importance of being kind to oneself. If you find yourself feeling anxious or having a less-than-perfect social interaction, practice self-compassion by acknowledging that it's okay to feel this way. Remind yourself that everyone has awkward moments and that it's part of being human. Epictetus wisely noted, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." Understand that overcoming social anxiety is a gradual process and that being gentle with yourself along the way is essential. Incorporate self-compassionate statements into your daily self-talk, such as, "It's okay to feel anxious, I'm doing my best," or "I'm proud of myself for facing my fears, even if it didn't go perfectly." These affirmations can soothe your mind and reduce the harsh inner critic contributing to your anxiety. By embracing resilience and self-compassion, you build a stronger foundation to manage social anxiety effectively. You learn to face social situations with a growth mindset and treat yourself with kindness, which ultimately leads to a more fulfilling and confident social life. One of the powerful Stoic practices for overcoming social anxiety is embracing voluntary discomfort. The Stoics believed that regularly exposing oneself to discomfort can build resilience and reduce the fear of facing challenging situations. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, advised, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By intentionally placing yourself in uncomfortable situations, you can desensitize yourself to the fear of social interactions and build confidence in your ability to handle discomfort. Start by identifying small social challenges that push you out of your comfort zone but are manageable. For instance, you could initiate a conversation with a stranger, ask a question in a public setting, or attend a social event where you don't know anyone. The goal is to gradually increase your tolerance for discomfort, which in turn reduces your overall anxiety. This practice aligns with the Stoic principle of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, where you mentally prepare for potential difficulties and rehearse your responses. By regularly stepping into discomfort, you train your mind to handle anxiety-inducing situations with greater ease. Over time, you'll find that your fear of social interactions diminishes as you become more accustomed to facing and overcoming challenges. Another effective Stoic technique for managing social anxiety is practicing negative visualization. This involves contemplating worst-case scenarios to reduce the fear of potential outcomes and appreciate the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." By visualizing negative outcomes, you can diminish their emotional impact and prepare yourself to handle them calmly. To practice negative visualization, take a few moments to imagine a social situation that triggers your anxiety. Then vividly picture the worst possible outcome. For instance, if you fear public speaking, imagine forgetting your speech, stumbling over your words, and facing a silent audience. As you visualize this scenario, notice your emotional and physical reactions. The key is to recognize that even in the worst-case scenario, you can survive and handle the situation. This reduces the power of the fear and helps you develop a more balanced perspective. Additionally, negative visualization can enhance your appreciation for positive outcomes. By contemplating the worst, you learn to value and savor the present moment, recognizing that reality is often much kinder than our anxious imaginations. This practice not only reduces social anxiety, but also fosters gratitude and contentment in everyday life. The Stoics often look to role models to guide their actions and thoughts. By emulating the virtues and behaviors of those who embody Stoic principles, you can find inspiration and practical examples for managing social anxiety. Marcus Aurelius frequently referenced the exemplary conduct of others in his meditations, writing, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Identify individuals, whether historical figures or contemporary leaders, who exhibit the Stoic qualities you admire, such as calmness, resilience, and wisdom. Reflect on how they might handle social anxiety and challenging interactions. Ask yourself how your role model would think, act, and feel in a similar situation. This mental exercise can provide guidance and a sense of direction when navigating your social fears. Moreover, consider keeping a journal to document your observations and reflections on your role models. Write down specific instances where you successfully applied Stoic principles in social situations and the lessons you learned from these experiences. This practice reinforces your progress and serves as a valuable resource for future reference. To truly overcome social anxiety, it's essential to integrate Stoic practices into your daily life consistently. The Stoics emphasize the importance of daily routines and habits to cultivate a resilient mind. As Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Begin each day with a morning routine that sets a positive tone and reinforces your Stoic mindset. This could include reading a passage from a Stoic text, practicing mindfulness meditation, or setting intentions for the day based on Stoic virtues. By starting your day with these practices, you prepare yourself to face social interactions with a calm and composed mind. Throughout the day, practice mindfulness and self-awareness. Notice when anxious thoughts arise and gently redirect your focus to the present moment, or engage in rational self-talk to challenge irrational fears. Use techniques like deep breathing and grounding exercises to stay centered during social interactions. End your day with a reflective practice, such as journaling or meditation. Review your social interactions, acknowledging your successes and areas for improvement. Reflect on how you applied Stoic principles and what you learned from the day's experiences. This nightly routine helps reinforce your growth and keeps you on track with your journey to overcome social anxiety. By consistently integrating Stoic practices into your daily life, you develop the resilience, wisdom, and inner strength needed to manage social anxiety effectively. Over time, you'll find that these principles become second nature, empowering you to navigate social situations with greater ease and confidence. Embrace Stoicism, and you will discover a path to true success that has stood the test of time.